Hey everyone, I want to do a quick video on shifting, awkward shifts and how you might practice them. I am working on a awkward shift right now in some Albanese I'm preparing, and that passage looks something like this. Not bad, not great, and inconsistent at that. I'm actually kind of surprised that I sort of made that. How would I actually go about practicing this? Well, first thing I would do with this or any other passage I'm trying to work out is try and figure out exactly what is the physical thing that is giving you trouble and making you perform it inconsistently. So in this case, it's pretty obvious. It's just a shift going from point A to point B. So in order to practice this, what I'm going to do is I really want to distill it down to just that shift. So I'm going to take away all the rhythm and all the surrounding chords and just practice that moment that is giving me trouble. So that would look like this. This chord to this chord. So what I would recommend is doing it very, very slowly. But not only that, we have to do it slowly, but in a particular way. So one of the most important things when going from one chord to another is making sure you don't fall into the trap of putting one finger down before the other. So in other words, when we're getting to this next chord, you can see that before I put down that second chord, my hand is already in the position. So that, let's see if I can do this. When I put down the chord, it's all going down together like one big finger. So that's a really important component of a smooth and accurate shift, is you want to try and get all your fingers down at once. So that means that as I'm shifting, my hand is also kind of morphing. And if I'm doing it well, then it should look like my hand is kind of morphing uniformly into that second chord shape. So that can be difficult to do, but my belief is that if you go slowly enough and you really pay attention to what your hand is doing, you should be able to accomplish that. You should be able to do that if you go slowly enough. And you may have to go really, really slow at first. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to forge a path, a smooth and accurate path from point A to point B. The analogy I always like to use is if you imagine an old covered wagon or like a horse-drawn carriage, and it's going down a dirt road. And the next day, that same exact horse-drawn carriage takes the same exact path down that same exact dirt road. And you imagine this going on hundreds or thousands of times. Eventually, what's going to happen is in the road where the wheels go over, a rut is going to form. And with each pass, that rut is going to get deeper and deeper until you have what is essentially like almost train tracks dug into the road. So each repetition we do of practice is like a pass of that carriage going down the road. And with each and every repetition, we're reinforcing whatever it is we're doing. So if we're doing it slightly inaccurately, we're going to reinforce that inaccuracy. And if we're going slowly and carefully and making sure we're taking a direct line from point A to point B, then we're going to be reinforcing that and hopefully reinforcing an accurate shift. So that's really important. Another thing to beware of when you're doing this is to beware of what I would call like a stutter step, where you're doing something like this. You kind of get to the chord, but you're kind of misaligned, and then you correct. Even if you correct really quickly, it's going to result in sort of a choppy performance. So again, this is just sort of what I was saying before, is you're really trying to forge a direct line from this exact accurate chord to this exact accurate chord. And once you've done that, I don't know, once you can maybe do this slowly, say a dozen times in a row. Then you may want to try it with a metronome and hold yourself accountable to some sort of a beat. So giving yourself a time limit, making yourself do it more quickly. So like something I might do is this: play, 2, 3, shift, play, 2, 3, shift, play, 2, 3, shift, play, 2, 3, shift. Where I'm giving myself, I'm designating a beat for the shift. So I'm not trying to go too quick. I'm just doing everything sort of in a relaxed manner in time. So hope that helped, and I'll see you next time.